are oppressed. We are exploited. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
How great I am.
If you're some man of the rock,
You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
Let us sing forever. Let us play forever.
Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside.
What are you saying, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the realest podcast in the world. I'm your host, Osama. Now, unfortunately, Mo is not going to make it today because man is like in that Ramadan grind. But anyways, we have an amazing guest for you. Her name is Medina. Medina, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, honestly, guys. Before I just get to this conversation, I was scrolling through my TikTok feed and I saw her. She popped up and I heard your amazing voice.
Thank you.
And I'm like, I have to showcase this on the podcast to the world because in my head, I'm like, this is amazing talent that has to be seen.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So where can they follow you?
So my Instagram and my TikTok handle are both the same. It's Medizzle, so it's MEDIZZLE.
Medizzle. Guys, go follow her right now. I'm going to make sure to shout your account out the day this comes out. And yeah, so I want to ask you a question. So did you always love to sing in music?
Yeah, so since I was younger, I've been singing. Like as soon as I could talk, I've been singing. My family's pretty musical too. Like I grew up on a lot of like old R&B and like anything that was out during the time like that I was younger. So I think my dad, like my parents are a huge influence into it and they really encouraged me like as I got older like to continue singing. So I've been singing since as long as I could talk, and then it wasn't up until like I think I was like 8 when I first did my first like musical competition, like just this like a local one in the city. And I've just been doing it.
Did you win?
Since. No, I didn't.
They missed out. Shout out that competition. You missed out on an amazing artist.
What was it called? Oh, the Stampede Talent Search. But that's like it ranges in age. So you can be like 8 years old and then you compete with like 20. I think the cutoff's like 22 or 23. So obviously at 8 years old, we don't have a chance. But it was just like to get me on stage and see how like I am.
Yeah.
It was exciting for me. Like imagine at 8 years old you're performing on stage. So yeah.
It's pretty nerve wracking. Like I can only imagine like you at 8 years old, you're competing with people who are like double your age.
Dude, I was so nervous. I couldn't find my mom in the crowd. And she had one of those old like camcorders and she was like filming me like this. And I could not find her in the crowd. Like if you watch this video of me, I'm just like staring there like deer in headlights, like scared for my life. I'll have to find it.
You have to send it to me. Honestly, like the thing is, I admire people who can sing because I can't sing at all. Like I just admire people who can sing. And when I heard your voice, actually, I just saw a video recently of you singing an auto-tune with Heartless. And I'm like, you're killing an auto-tune.
Yeah,
because
that was
you can tell when someone's voice. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was just like a funny TikTok trend. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to get on it.
Oh, really?
How it is. Yeah, it was super cool. I didn't think like it would actually work, but it did.
Honestly, sometimes you can tell when someone has a bad singing voice. In my opinion, I want to hear your idea. Like when you're looking at people to collab with. Obviously, recently I saw your story. You said you want to collaborate with other like songwriters and like singers. So what's your step? Like, what do you look for in terms of like a good singer or a good song? Like, what do you look for? What's your process?
I think being honest, I feel like you can 100% become like an incredible singer as long as you practice and you get tips. But I also think there's a part of a singing voice that comes naturally, like from a young age. And so when I look for people to collaborate with, it's more of like, I'm not necessarily looking to see if you're like the most amazing singer. I want somebody who's a songwriter, who plays an instrument, who's just all around like really creative in like the music field. I mean, it's awesome if they have a great voice. That's just a plus, right? But yeah, like there's a lot of amazing people that I've met throughout university and high school and just growing up. So I feel like I have a pretty good community that I can kind of like not almost pick from, but just be like, hey, reach out to them, be like, do you want to write a song together? You know, we should collaborate. So yeah.
Yeah, honestly, to go back to what you said earlier, I don't think anybody can sing because I've tried. Like when I'm singing along with the songs like Kanye West or Drake or like whatever it is. My sister can sing decently well, and she's like, "Osama, just shut up. You sound bad." I'm like, "Bro, let me have my moment." Let me have a moment. I get so triggered.
Yo, my siblings say the
Oh, really?
same. You're all good. You're all good. Shout out to my siblings who tell me to shut up.
Yeah, but
constantly.
your voice is amazing. That's the difference. The way I look at it, I'm like, wow. I honestly, like, speaking, when I was like, now we're like recording 2 episodes a week and trying to upload twice a week. So I was trying to look for unique guests. And when I was looking through your page, I'm like, personally speaking, we've had a lot of artists on our page, but I don't think I've ever heard someone's voice as powerful as yours. So I didn't want to get to know you. Also,
you
for
so
me,
much.
seeing that you're Middle Eastern, I love helping like my Middle Eastern people, like trying to elevate each other, trying to help each other. So to me, it's kind of like a win-win. It's like I get to know you, we get to help each other, we build a network, and we go from there. But you were speaking about your influences. Who are your influences in terms of music? So obviously you said music within your family, it's huge. So who would you like? What I guess from the Middle Eastern world, from the Western society, who do you look up to when you're like thinking of songs to write?
Yeah, for sure. So I tend to go to a lot of like R&B artists. Just to name a few, like I'm just off the top of my head, like Snow Allegra, Kiana Lee Day. There's a bunch, but I feel like Kiana Lee Day and Snow Allegra. Oh, Georgia Smith. Those three are probably like the top 3 R&B artists that I listen to a lot. And I like that they have some of their music is kind of like unstructured and they kind of just like you can tell they just kind of go off in the studio off of emotion and experiences that have happened to them. So that's really something that I'm looking to get better at, especially with my own songwriting, is to just kind of like go off of emotion and experiences that I've had to make like a really passionate, just like very vulnerable song.
In terms of your songwriting, like what are your steps? What do you do? Do you write stuff down?
Yeah.
Like what do you like? How do you get to that moment where you want to write songs?
I think it comes from inspiration, but it's also like if you're in the studio, like we're writing a song ASAP. Like we're not wasting time. So I think the process is different for everybody when it comes to songwriting. Me and my producer Josh are even still trying to figure out like our own process. We've been working together for about 2 years and we've tried a whole bunch of different things. But what we're really looking to do now is just go like start from the basics. So just pick a chord progression, whether it be on guitar, piano, and then just come up with melodies. And the thing too is like I need to study music a little bit more just to get almost like a feel for how artists kind of come into the beat, come off the beat, like what their style is like. And I have to find my stylistic preferences too. So the songwriting for sure in the studio is like giving me really good practice. And I'm really excited to release some music and just kind of get a portfolio out because, like I have like 1 or 2 songs that
I'm waiting.
release soon.
I'm waiting. Let me ask you a question. From the songs that you have that are not out yet, do you think you have songs that are amazing that you know people are gonna love? Would you say that you have songs that are bangers at this point?
I think, being honest, I have one, and we're still working on it right now. So I'm really hoping like within like the next month or 2 that I can get it released. And every time I listen to it, that melody gets stuck in my head. I've showed it to like my mom and my sister, and they say the same thing. Like the melody is very catchy.
Yeah.
So I think that one is really exciting. The other ones I have are a little bit more unstructured, and they're not finished yet, so they still need a little bit more work. But then again, like I'm also collaborating with a bunch of artists, because I really want to build like a community. Me and my producer want to build like a community of artists in the city I live in, because it's not bad for music or songwriting or that kind of thing, but I feel like there's definitely an opportunity for us to grow.
For sure, absolutely. I think the great thing about collaborating, even for myself as a podcast host, like when I'm like interviewing people like yourself or other people, I get to learn a lot of stuff because sometimes me as a consumer of music who loves listening to music, I think I write sometimes, I wrote poetry sometimes here and there, but I think it's different when it comes to music because music, like you're sending it to the world. And sometimes as a consumer, for me, listening to people, I get upset. I'm like, yo, why hasn't Drake dropped a song? Why hasn't so-and-so dropped a song? But I understand it's for them. It's like, it has to be what's good for them. Like a song might be a banger for me, but for them, it's like, it's not the one that's going to allow them. So how do you listen to the noise? For example, like you must have a lot of people who are asking you to drop a song. So how do you like, I guess, tune out the noise? It's like, yo, listen, I'm not going to get pressured by dropping a song just because you guys want it. How do you deal with that pressure?
Yeah, this is something that I recently just posted about on Instagram, because the thing for me is I have one song that's been released, and I think we released it in 2019. So it's been about 3 years since I've put any music out. And there is a lot of pressure, like especially from family members, especially because I'm always posting that I'm in the studio. People are like, "Where's the music?" And it's like I'm just getting to a point where I'm like, I don't want to release music I'm not proud of. So yeah, I have songs that I could finish and release, but am I going to be proud of them? No. At the end of the day, because I'm making music, I want to be happy with it myself. And then, I'll share it with the world. But if I'm not happy with it, why would I put the song out? You know what I mean? So it's more just about like really getting to that point where I'm very confident in my stylistic choices or how I am in the studio, like my songs, and then I can release music.
Not gonna lie, sometimes I get upset because I'm like, yo, I want a song immediately. Because like sometimes I get bored of my current songs that are the artists I listen to. Because I listen to a lot of rap, R&B, sometimes like old school music as well. But I'm like, I wish my favorite artist is Drake. People know this. Waste Family, you know this. And when he doesn't drop a song, I get triggered. I'm like, bro, drop a song. I'm getting tired of listening to CLB or like your older music sometimes because I just want new music. But I think I do understand the frustration as an artist because not only do you have sometimes maybe creative block, which I guess is my next question to you. So what do you do when you have creative block? Like sometimes you're not inspired or sometimes you don't think of writing. So what do you do to re-inspire yourself? Where do you go? Where does Medina go?
Yeah, honestly, I think it really depends. Personally, for me, when I get a writer's block, I think it's just inexperience. So I think like a lot of the things that I do is I go back and I really analyze music. So I pick a song, I look at what chords they're using, what key it's in, and then I see how they come in and out of the beat. And I really try to figure out like how they made this song. Like I really pick it apart and see how it is. I used to be really, really into that, and then again, life gets busy, so I kind of was like falling off of it for a bit. But then whenever I get a writer's block, that's like the first thing I do. I listen to music very critically just to see how a song is made, really. So that's probably the biggest thing. And then just kind of taking some time away, like listening to my favorite songs, gathering inspiration from there.
I was gonna say I was looking at your wall. I see that you're a big music fan because I see like you have records and posters of musicians.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a bit, like why? Because a lot of people usually have. I only have a car on my wall, which is a small poster.
Yeah.
But talk about those posters and what they mean to you.
Yeah, for sure. So like I listen to so many artists, it's hard to like pinpoint who my favorites are.
Name them. I'm gonna put you on the spot soon. Be ready.
I mean, Frank Ocean's up there. We have Mac DeMarco. I listen to quite an array of different artists. Like sometimes I'm in like folk music or alternative, old R&B. Like it really just depends. Like I'm just like in everything except for country. That's the one genre. That's the one genre I'm just like, nah, I'm good. You can't
Not for
convince
me.
me to like it. It's a no for me. But this wall I feel like is a good inspiration too. There's also like some photos of my friends and family. And I think it's also like it's another like good reminder of why I'm songwriting is because like these artists have made such an impact on my life. What kind of impact could I make on other people's life with my own music? And shout out to Value Village because all of these records are actually $1. They're all scratched. And I wasn't going to put my real records on the wall because I didn't want them to get dusty or damaged or anything. So I just bought fake, like really old ones. I think this one is like a Christian record, to be honest with you. I don't even know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I like how you say you don't like country music. Neither do I. But it's just not my vibe. But listening to you really seem inspired by different types of music because usually a lot of people are either like, for example, strictly rap or strictly R&B or strictly pop. But you seem like you listen to different types of music. So I guess since you named a few artists, who would you say is your two-part question? It's going to be tough. Mount Rushmore for your favorite albums, and Mount Rushmore for your favorite artists that have inspired you. So when you go do music, what albums do you go back to and say, I want my album to represent this?
Ooh, that is tough because I'd have to say, okay, so I think, so Brandy has an album. I think it's Never Say Never. That's probably one of my all-time favorite albums. I always go back and listen to that. I don't know if it's her voice. I don't know if it's like the style of the music that she writes. That's probably a big one. Lost and Found by Georgia Smith was like a big inspiration for me to start writing music when I was in university. And then I guess just another, like I'm really into alternative, but I think like the best alternative slash jazzy old school 80s music is the 1975, their self-titled album. Those are probably my top 3 albums ever. And this is the thing too with me is again, I'm still trying to figure out who I am as an artist because I listen to so many genres. It's like, yeah, I say I want to release R&B music, but then I write a lot of pop songs, or I like a lot of the sounds of alternative music. So I'm still trying to figure out like where I am.
Honestly, I think a lot of people, what the hardest thing for them is, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. It's actually amazing that you brought this up. People are always under pressure. They have to drop something now. Like for me, for example, a lot of people don't know that we started this whole podcast thing 4 years ago, but it's not until 2020 is when we actually started being consistent and dropping episodes. Sometimes I think it's okay to like ground yourself and like ask yourself questions about who am I, what do I want to do, because then you have a much more clearer mindset. And you never know, one day you'll go in the studio and drop us like you do a song naturally and you're like, yo, this is the first song I'm going to drop. So sometimes I think it's important, and the fact that you're content with that's amazing, because that just shows how hardworking you are.
It's a struggle too. Like some days I sit there and, you know, of course I have friends who also do music and I see them releasing songs and I'm like I just want to put music out. Like I'm so excited, and it gets frustrating. It really does. Like seeing your friends release music and you've been working for a while at it, but it's like, again, I just have to remind myself like this is all for a purpose, and once I do release music, it's going to be worth it.
So speaking about purpose, what's your purpose? Like, what do you see yourself as an artist? Like, what do you see yourself doing? What is it you want to change within the music world?
So I'm a Muslim, and Ramadan Kareem to anybody watching. Anyway,
Ramadan Kareem.
Like one of the biggest themes, I guess, I want to input in my music and in my image is modesty, because I feel like that's something that's lacking. If I do say so myself, in the music industry, we see a lot of like, you know, not so modest things in the mainstream media. And I feel like I can be the one to change that, because there's a lot of people who could relate to that. Right. So that's a really big thing for me, is like just focusing on topics that are, you know, close to my heart, things that other people can relate to, and also keeping it modest in terms of like the way I dress or my image or like music videos, like all of that kind of thing. So I had a music video released in 2019 for my song Later. And so I remember saying to the director of the music video, I remember calling him and being like, listen, I want to keep this as modest as I can. I don't want no booty shaking. I don't want like alcohol. I don't, you know, I want to keep my roots. And I remember having this conversation with him, and, you know, it was challenging too for them to kind of understand where I was coming from, again, because the people I was working with were non-Muslims, right? Which is totally fine. But again, it's just that it's a little bit harder to kind of like put your foot down, because they don't understand at the end of the day. So this is like a big thing of mine too with my image, is I also want to get a lot of Muslim creatives into my work. I was just at the Oscars Film Festival in Edmonton. I met so many incredible people, rappers, I met singers, I met artists, like digital artists, videographers, filmmakers, all these people. And I feel like I've built up like an amazing circle of Muslim creatives that now I can implement when I start releasing music. So if I want somebody to shoot a music video, I can go call a Muslim creator, because they're going to understand. We're going to relate on that base, right? Or again, like collaborating with Muslim artists. That's another thing. Like it's not like they're going to start writing a rap like that's really sexual or something, right? Because they know we're all on the same page. And I think too, like you said, because we're both Arab, like supporting each other, even as Muslims, I think supporting each other in this kind of industry to make a change is the best thing. So that's what I'm really excited about too, is all these new friends that I've made recently and all these new connections.
Yeah, the one thing that stuck out for me is like how you said you want to help, and you're not going to change who you are just because you want to make it, which kind of is the same thing for me, because even on our podcast, even if you look down at certain episodes, like we might talk about funny stuff, but I will never sell out of who I am personally, because that's not going to be me. I'm no longer authentic. And by the way, fans will always see you. Like, the last thing I want is someone to see me in person and say, wow, you're so different than what you are on your podcast. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah. 100%.
And that for me is really important. And
Yeah.
to go back to the second thing that you said, I just like helping because I'm Palestinian. Like, I have some Middle Eastern friends here and there from my childhood. I like helping wherever I can. I'm not someone who looks for something in return. Like, for example, if you say, hey, Usama, like, I know you know this person, can you let him know? Absolutely. I would never say, but you got to do this for me. Like, I'm not that type of person. Some people are, unfortunately. I'm not. I don't really care because I'm doing it out of the goodness of my heart. And I think a lot of people kind of lost that aspect. They're like, you got to do something for me. Like, do what, buddy? It's either you help me or I'll do it on my own.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think it's just about really like helping your community. And that's what I'm really excited about is we built genuine connections with each other at this festival as friends. And it wasn't like I'm going to do something for you, you're going to do something for me. It's like we started off as friendships and then later introduced what we were there for. So it was like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a singer. What do you do? Oh, I'm a filmmaker. That's awesome. We should collaborate. We should do something. So that's a great part of it too. It wasn't just like strictly business. It was also making friendships, which I thought was awesome.
About the event, talk about the event. How was it for you? Like, was it a different experience? Like, how many great people did you meet?
Honestly, the Oscars, I wish it was longer. I've made so many friends and so many connections. Like, alhamdulillah, I was so grateful. I was a little bit scared to go to that music festival, if I'm being completely honest with you, because I've never been to something like that. And I actually forced my best friend to come with me because I was like, I'm not going to something like that alone. I need somebody to come with me. So me and my best friend went up to Edmonton and we met so many amazing people. Just like so, and I was like, why was I scared? Like, what was the anticipation of like, but no, like it was incredible. We were all staying in the same hotel too. So once all the events were done throughout the day, we all actually went into the hotel lobby and we would jam there until like 5-6 a.m. And it was so much fun just to like be in a community, and it felt so safe and so like authentic, and it just was like, it was so incredible. I honestly wish it was longer, and I can't wait for the festival next year.
Wait, is this event only in Edmonton?
Yes.
Wow, I gotta leave Toronto and go to that event. Just hearing you talk about it makes me want to go.
Dude, there was lots of people from
because
everywhere.
It sounds
like,
so amazing.
There was people from the U.S. There was people from it was really just U.S. and Canada, but it was not. I didn't even know the people from the U.S. were coming. So yeah, it was U.S. people from all over the U.S., all over Canada. They came out, and it was so incredible. And I highly recommend it for anybody, especially if you're a creative. That's like a great place to make friends and a community.
Not gonna lie, this is the first time I heard about this event. I've never heard about it before. I'm clearly living under a rock.
So what happened was I didn't know what it was either until I actually met my friend Asif through TikTok. And he told me about it. He's like, hey, we have like this film festival coming up in a few months. Like, I want to invite you. I think it would be super fun. You're going to meet all these different creatives. And same with you. I've never heard of it before. But I think because it's gaining more traction, there's a lot of, I think this year they invited over like 200 people from different social media platforms who are Muslim creators. And it was like a place for all of us to come and meet. So I think even now, after this year's event, how many connections we've made, I think it will just continue to grow. Because I know a lot of people that I would be like, hey, you should come to the Oscars, right? So I think it's just going to get even bigger, which is really exciting. And alhamdulillah, like I said, I'm very grateful for that experience.
Next year, I'm going to go and say, yo, Medina told me about this event. I know Medina, let me go in for free. I'm using you as a hookup.
Dude, you can get invited as a creative, and then you get like creatives perks. You
Possibly.
never know. Yeah.
The thing is like I don't post it. Like right now, I'm looking for a social media person to take care of our social media account because I'm pretty much doing everything at this moment. And because my co-host is in school and he's like focused on his school. But yeah, I just need someone who's better at social media because in my head, I'm like, the thing is, I don't go to networking events as much. Maybe I should be. Specifically as a podcast host, like I should be going to like all these events, meeting with all these amazing people. But I gotta thank TikTok because I'm meeting people like yourself. I have other TikTokers as well who are coming onto the podcast like in the upcoming weeks. So I think TikTok is saving my life because I go to someone's thing, I'm like, I love your voice. I want you on the podcast.
Yeah, no, TikTok has honestly like has done a lot for me in the last couple years. Again, creating a community on TikTok. Like there's people that I've met on TikTok who I've later met in person, and it's like I created a connection from online, which is so weird. But yeah, TikTok like is an awesome platform, and I think especially for creatives it's good. But to the first thing you said too with social media, it's very overwhelming. Like it gets to be too much, especially if you don't have anybody helping you with it too. Like I think for me, I shut down a lot when it comes to social media. Like I'm one to post, but then if I get a lot of responses or messages, I get very overwhelmed very quickly, and I tend to just like not even respond. And it could literally be a person I love from like the bottom of my heart, and it's not even like it has nothing to do with them. It's just me. It gets too overwhelming, and I don't have enough time to respond, and I feel so bad. Like I feel so guilty, and I'm like, dude, like I want to respond to your message, but it's just like it's overwhelming. I have anxiety. Like I can't do this.
It's tough, believe me. I can only I think it's different also for an artist, because I can guarantee you probably have a lot of messages, people like praising you and like thanking you, like listening to your music or listening to like your covers. And obviously because you have a big platform on both Instagram and TikTok, guys, make sure to follow her. Also I think like for me, I would say I'm pretty responsive when it comes to certain stuff, but I'm a dry texter. I've been told this multiple times that when I text people, I get told that I don't care about the conversation. So I'm like, listen, I'm like, be happy you're getting a text from me.
Yeah. I think calling though too, like I feel like that's something that's been kind of tucked away for a while, is like calling people, because I feel like we can just hide behind our phones and like text each other. But I feel like calling for me has worked so much better in like the last few years, like especially if I want to talk to somebody I haven't like, talked with in a while, or again, I've left their message on read for a while. It's like I just want to call you, because it's so much easier to have a genuine conversation with somebody than just over social media.
For sure. I think I agree. I think for me, today someone called me who I met them off of Clubhouse, and I haven't spoken to them in a while. I was in my bed. I just woke up. I'm like, is this person actually calling me at this moment? Like I haven't heard from them in so long. And like we spoke for an hour and a half. But yeah, I think go back to what you said. For me, I'm out of like social media. I try to do my best to stay off of, just because my personal one, at least, because I just want to work on my brand, and unless I'm hitting up creators like yourself and everybody else. But sometimes, you can get overwhelmed, because as a creator, your social media revolves around your life.
Big time. It really does. And again, it's just very overwhelming. I'm really trying to work on it too. Like there's a lot of things you can do on Instagram too that will allow you to kind of like take a break. So you can I think you can turn off your replies for your stories. You can turn off commenting. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do. But again, I feel bad. Like I want people to be able to have that conversation with me. And I'm not saying I get like thousands of messages. It literally will be like 5 messages, and I'll be like, no, I'm out. Like I'm clocking out. I can't do this anymore.
You're like, khalas, I can't respond no more.
I can't.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Honestly, I what you just said, I actually did that. All my notifications are turned off except for my iMessage, because like, in case clients are hitting me up, I have to reply to them back. But Instagram, TikTok, because I know once I see the notification, I'm gonna respond. For my own mental health,
You're tempted.
Whenever I open the app, whenever I open, like for example, I just know, like for example, with you, I know I don't have my notifications, but I'll go check in case you responded, so I can be as responsive as I possibly can be.
Yeah.
But I guess people don't get mad if Medina or myself are not responding. Like we also have lives. We also trying to like grow ourselves.
Yeah. It's a lot, and honestly, I've been wanting to take a social media break lately for a while. And I feel like it's very hard when you run your own social media accounts, because my content, again, is based solely around my voice or my experiences, right? So it's not like I can just go on a social media break and not post for an entire month. My TikTok views would crash. I would probably lose half my followers. It's like you have to keep up with the game, but also keep yourself sane at the same time. So it's a hard balance to kind of figure out, which is, again, I'm still figuring that out.
I guess you answered that question. I have one more question for you. What are some future projects you have that you're trying to work on for the next couple months, next year? Where do you see yourself in the next year?
So right now, I'm really trying to work on like a 5-6 song EP that I can release. But I think before that, I really want to keep like a very common theme in an EP because that's how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to have just like a mixtape where you throw in a bunch of things that, you know, maybe the genre is different in this song, genre is different in this one, you're singing about different things. So I think in the meantime, I'm going to release some singles just to kind of build up that portfolio for myself. And then I really want to release that 5-6 song EP. Once I do that, honestly, the thing that's been holding me back from doing more like performances is that I don't have my original music. And I don't like being a cover artist because it's not my own music, right? Like I can sing it and I can sing it with emotion, but it doesn't feel genuine. So that's why I haven't been doing any like shows really. I did one for the Moscow's Film Festival, which was awesome. Again, that was like a great way for me to meet creatives before the actual film festival. But I haven't ever done a show where I sing my own songs because I don't have any of my own material out. So I think once I release that EP, it will give me an opportunity to really look into some different venues in the city that I can perform at and just kind of put myself out there. Like, hey, if anybody like wants me to kind of like do a performance for them in a different part of Canada or the US or something, like I would totally be down to do that. And I think live performances will probably be the next step after releasing music.
Well, before we end it off, when you're in Toronto, let me know so I can come to your performance because I'm going to support you every day and all day.
Thank you.
With that being said, I'm so happy you came on. Had an amazing time with you. Guys, make sure you follow Medina. Where can they follow you again?
TikTok and Instagram. My @ is Medizzle, MEDIZZLE.
Hey, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Peace. You guys thought we were done? I don't think so. We still gotta wrap it up. Please follow me at Kusa300. Follow my co-host Muhammad at Muhammad.global. Make sure to follow our page at Instagram. Also, make sure to subscribe to all our platforms. We drop every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Thank you. We'll see you next week.